Thank you so much, Kokil, for this knowledgeable insights. And now, without wasting any time, I am handing over to you, Aman. Please take over the session from here.
Thank you, Ragini. Indeed, I take it as a privilege that today I'm going to moderate this session. Every citizen in India is so proud of organizations like IOCL, ONGC, IGL. You have brought an independence to India for its most critical assets, and you continue to work. So before I begin, a big thank you to all the panelists for giving their time to us and sharing their experiences. Indian oil and gas sector is at inflection point with major policy reforms in the past 5 years, deciphering fresh investments and commitment to help achieve India's vision of an increased self-reliance and energy security. Digital transformation will offer Indian oil and gas sector the toolkit for the next wave of growth and unlock opportunity by transforming the core business processes, the operating models, ways of working, and by integrating technology and data for action-oriented decision-making. This August panel will unlock the way forward for oil and gas sector as they convert business digitally to next generation business models. So I did like to introduce one of the first panelists over here, Mr. Amal Krishna, who is the Chief General Manager at ONGC. And you know, of course, we all know about ONGC, which is the largest government-owned oil and gas exploration company. So I thought before we move to the distribution and marketing and other PSUs which are helping take these products to the end user, the exploration company should come and talk about their journey. ONGC has more than 30,000 employees. They are 500 million plus in terms of their barrels which they are exploring. They have almost 11,000 kilometers worth of pipeline which they are monitoring for supplying of gas. There are multiple basins which they are also simultaneously working on. I believe they are present in more than 17 countries and not only in India. So of course, ONGC is a proud organization for all of us Indians. So Amal sir, requesting if you could be our first panelist and share some thoughts on certain points. I certainly have read about the amazing work that you have led on the data center modernization side, sir. You have been doing a lot of work around data integration and data analytics as well. So could you share a little bit on this journey and your future plans around this area?
Thanks a lot, Aman. Thanks for that excellent introduction to ONGC, our company. And first of all, I'd like to compliment the Governance Now team, who has done an excellent platform building for interaction amongst PSUs. This platform actually gives us an insight into the ways of working of different PSUs. And we get to know each other better. We can work together, we can work forward better. So thanks a lot for that. Now coming to the topic, as Aman has mentioned also, ours is a very technology intensive industry. And in fact, we have been using supercomputers since the early 80s. Later on, when we had our data center here in Delhi in 2002 for our business applications, which is centralized. Before that, we had all isolated areas. So now over a period of time, we have built all business-centric applications such as SAP is there, or email or Active Directory domain-based logins, intranet collaboration tools and things like that. And to top it all, we have an application called Paperless, in which all our file works, everything has gone paperless. So these applications are critical here. In 2013, we had upgraded the data center to become a full-fledged tier 3 data center kind of thing. Excepting for the tier 4 part wherein 2 power supplies are required, we are complying with the other requirements also in tier 4. But when we did that thing, we had some issues in terms of some areas of concern that remain unanswered, such as even if we had redundant servers, if one server failed, then we had to be on our toes to get it repaired as soon as possible, because either the other server was overwhelmed with traffic, or if the other server failed also, we were in total soup. So in terms of designing also, we had to position the servers in such a way that each server was independently able to handle the full load. So in case of disaster also, we could continue. So that was the point of concern. Then we were also not able to cater to impulsive short duration load enhancements. In case like we had a recruitment site in which when there was a normal case, hardly there are 100 hits per day. But if there is a recruitment notice coming on there, there would be lakh visits every day. So that kind of requirement we were not able to meet in a short duration. That was a challenge. We were also not able to have an optimum utilization of the resources. If some server we had allotted 8 cores, it remained 8 cores only. We were not able to dynamically use it elsewhere, even if it may be using only 2 cores most of the time. Then storage also similarly, we had to provision and in a dedicated way. These were some of the challenges that we had across the data center. And particularly when we went live, as I mentioned about for the paperless part, in fact, we are proud of that paperless story because we are one organization now which has 100% paperless. And this project was inaugurated by none other than our Prime Minister Modi ji. And that's why this has become a very critical thing for us. So when it was rolled out in 2018, these points that were of concern to us we could no longer bear. So that is why in 2019, we took a decision to have some kind of a virtualization layer which would address all these issues, and we kind of went for a private cloud within our premises, because at that time there was government regulations also, and the public cloud offering outside was not very mature. So in that scenario, we went for a bare metal kind of a virtualization, wherein whether the server is a blade server or whether it's a rack server or it has a 2 CPU or 4 CPU, RAM is 64 GB or 256 GB, we could have gone for all as a single layer of a transparent hardware was available to us, and we could deploy our applications dynamically on it. We could pass on the applications also from one VM to another dynamically. So that's the advantage we have now got it. And one of the greatest advantages, we are now able to dynamically allocate and deallocate resources. In fact, most of it is also automated. We are also got a very good VM level changeover automate that happens in case one hardware fails in another VM, automatically it's shifted to another VM, so the user doesn't know at all. So that's the beauty of it. We are, and in terms of performance also, since we have been able to have a major insight into how these things are working, how the resources are being utilized, so we have been able to get the best out of it. So that has been a very, a good step that we have taken, and we are quite satisfied with the virtualization that we have done and given us that private cloud offering that we have within our innovation. In fact, taking a page forward on this, we are also now deploying this same private cloud concept in our exploration area in our main data center, Dehradun. But there also we are going one step forward. We are also deploying VDI, which will take away the requirements of our workstations individually.
Amazing.
So that's also another thing.
I mean, that's a very great aspect which you covered, sir. I mean, in briefly 3 minutes, you've taken us through a journey of ONGC from adoption of the supercomputers all the way, the challenges that you faced towards achieving 100% paperless organization, and how technology was well utilized to kind of overcome the compute, storage, and making like infrastructure agnostic kind of solution and achieving the outcomes that you wanted. And I'm really glad to hear that you're also looking at the employee and remote worker side, and how you will leverage technology in times to come to kind of provide them a virtual kind of environment so that they can work more easily. And actually that adds security in a very, very supreme way as well. So it will certainly achieve. So Amal sir, I mean, like, you know, oil and gas industry digital journey will be incomplete if I don't request you to talk something around the OT and the IoT play. And, you know, technology can be a big superpower in terms of harnessing this power of OT and IoT. So please, may I know anything around that you've been doing, or what are your thoughts on the OT and IoT space?
Yeah. So see, traditionally we have been using a digital control system or a distributed control system, DCS systems, at all our production installations or drilling installations in a different way. So, but what has happened is they have been used mostly locally, and because these are control systems, anywhere anyone if they are able to get access to it, and if they have a malified intention, it can create havoc. So that is why traditionally they have been kept away from the network totally and have been on standalone kind of air gap systems.
Okay.
And in fact, some few years back, ONGC has been identified also as one of the critical sectors from the government of India. So from the cybersecurity aspects also, that has been a heightened concern area. So traditionally, we have kept it away from this because wherever there are controls involved, whatever security measures we have taken, they have always been, I mean, people who could have overridden. I mean, this cat and mouse fight keeps going on. So that is why what we have decided is now there has been recently there has been the advent of IoT. In IoT, we have the IoT sensors have come for the fields also in the oil and gas sector also now.
Okay.
And there we have the capability of monitoring only with no access to any controls. So that has given us an insight that, okay, with deploying this kind of technologies, there is no security concern that is there in these technologies. Come what may, no one can have any control on this. So using these technologies, now we are going for an OT and IT kind of integration in the perspective of monitoring of the parameters. Because in OT, analytics is very well utilized if we have that on the cloud.
Yes, yes.
And cloud access for OT was strictly no earlier. But now with these things in place, we can go to the cloud and the things like condition monitoring of equipment or predictive analytics for failure of equipment. These things are areas that we are taking up now. In fact, augmented reality and other things also we are taking up parallelly. We have in fact, a consultant appointed for this who's identifying all the relevant technology areas which this can be implemented in. So we'll be going whole hog for this in the next 2-3 years.
Very interesting, sir. I mean, I like the approach because being a critical sector for India, you are taking a step-by-step approach. You're trying to understand how the monitoring aspect plays before moving into the control aspects and then leveraging technology on the IoT side. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think, sir, the technology is also evolving day by day to kind of address some of these concerns which you have. And a lot of organizations are spending a lot of research work into the security of IoT space and trying to see that, there has to be freedom as well as security. And it's not about or, but how can we have of both and still achieve the business outcomes. So interesting to hear about this, sir. And I'm sure like down the line, 2-3 years, you will again educate all of us as to what was your journey and what were your learnings for the next generation. I'm also wanting to kind of push you towards another aspect of modernization of data centers. And I know this is a topic where, again, we all are trying to figure out what's right for each organization. Because, somewhere the cloud has its own benefits, and it's also becoming quite pervasive to what digital transformations we are doing. And earlier, we've also spoken about what should be on-prem, hybrid. Can I have a cloud which is more controlled by me than just by a native person? So any thoughts around that, sir, on a multi-cloud, hybrid cloud strategy, or what do you think could be a good way to move further?
So as I mentioned earlier, we are definitely planning to go on the cloud, but there were certain security concerns that have already been answered, as I mentioned.
Yes,
but some of the other areas that we have concern is when we go to a cloud, we get married to that cloud service provider.
Yes.
And the experience has been that in case you want to withdraw from that cloud service provider, it becomes a big task in itself, getting data out from there and moving to another cloud. So that is where we are looking at a multi-tenant cloud or a solution which can move me from one cloud service provider to another cloud service provider dynamically, like I do it in my private cloud and from one server to another server. If we are evaluating those solutions, whatever solution best works for us, we'll be going for that solution on a case-to-case basis.
I think that's a very, very mature outlook towards it because because of the opportunity that I work at VMware, I get to interact with a lot of our customers in US as well. And a lot of organizations who had moved to cloud about 2 years ago had something very similar, experience what you just narrated to all of us in this PSU summit. And at times when you move to a specific cloud, you have to re-architect your applications, you have to change your IP schema, and then you get married to one cloud. And then it gets difficult to have a multi-cloud strategy. So I'm glad that you are kind of thinking of that from the very beginning. And even at VMware, we are continuously doing a lot of research work and developing solutions how we could truly bring a single pane of management and control with the user and yet have multi-cloud services and multi-cloud kind of operations for the customer. And surely, sir, glad to hear all this from you. So thank you for your time on these, sir. And if time permitting, I would want to come back to you a little bit also more on the security. However, I'll move to the next panelist now. Sure. So that brings me to Indian Oil Corporation. And I think like very few companies have made it to the global Fortune 500 companies, and Indian Oil Corporation is one of them. It is unbelievable, but the way Indian Oil Corporation has been growing their revenues, and they are touching like $4.5–5 billion in revenue. They are one of the most profitable organizations also. So that means they are managing their operations in a very, very efficient way. So I did like to welcome Mr. Suresh Nambiar as our next panelist, who is the Chief General Manager at IOCL. So welcome, Nambiar sir, to this panel.
Thank you, Aman. So you said it right. I think the answer lies in this one quote that I would like to quote. It's customer won't care about any particular technology unless it solves a particular problem in a superior way.
Correct.
So that is the key to all what you have told about Indian Oil. And talking about oil and gas sector in India, in the last 5 years can be seen to have been contemplating view on IT-driven business using IT strategy.
Yes.
So to speak of Indian Oil in particular, we were awarded FIPPI Digitally Advanced Company of the Year consecutively for last 2 years. So how we did started this journey, I'd like to brief you.
Sure.
We had several brainstorming sessions on IT strategy for understanding the nitty-gritty and estimating our roadmap towards Industry 4.0. We set up teams and had several rounds of meetings and discussions using selected experienced officers. Subsequently, broad outline was drawn with the blessings of the senior most. Thereafter, it was decided that we should have an IT strategy consultant to identify gaps in our processes, and also in the business models, and identify digital transformation initiatives for technological advancements for a clear focus. Accordingly, in 2017, we approached a consultant, and they interacted with about more than 2,000 people, stakeholders from our organization, and then a clear map was drawn on the strategy front. In 2019, a separate strategic information systems group was formed, and under the banner of Project iDrive, that is Indian Oil's digital readiness and IT vision enablement, we have implemented more than 65 digital initiatives across the divisions like refineries, marketing, pipelines, petrochem, gas, etc. So digital initiatives included foundational, future-proofing, and transformational in general. Touched upon areas of smart maintenance, smart office, commercial excellence, customer first, next generation technologies, capex excellence, etc. The game-changing implementations include high-impact analytics and new and emerging technologies and commercial off-the-shelf tools. We have already made investment commitment of about 650 crores during the last 2 years. Having realized this potential of digital transformation and benefits through implementation of high-impact analytics and new emerging technologies, along with COTS tools, wherever suited, Indian Oil's digital journey has been pleasant, energetic, passionate, contented, and realized. Enabling digital in workplace has tremendously improved our work culture. For example, it has helped during the COVID times. Analytics use cases have contributed prediction of equipment failure, preemptive scheduling and maintenance activities, etc. So bots and drones we have deployed, and effectively in examining the flare tips around the refineries, tank tops, etc., and save lots in costs related to and lack of scaffolding at heights, risk of contractual worker accidents, as well as proper project management. AR/VR-based training systems have developed novice and earnest learners to acquaint themselves with new technologies at workplace, policies, and SOPs as and when they get updated. Robotic process automation, the RPA, in various areas like bill claim processing, payroll reconciliation, statutory report generations, NPS, enrollment application, GRM calculation in refineries, have facilitated reduction in rudimentary, redundant, monotonous work hours. A reduction in gap between operation technology and information technology has been a key enrichment to the digital transformation exercise. A state-of-art digital lake known as data management platform is being implemented centrally for analytic data across the organization using OT and IT data. And augmented hardware, DC and DR, are being procured. So digital technology plays a very key important role. We have a large database of data points, and with streaming data coming in, we need to have, for the purpose of data analytics, we need to have a large data center as well, enough to suit and accommodate them. So this is how we have briefly on the digital front what we have done.
That's quite an amazing journey, sir. And I like this approach, and I think a lot of us can learn from this, that you decided that you would want to have a strategic initiative, you would have to have a long-term vision. You decided that you would like to involve 2,000 employees from your organization to get the inputs, and at the same time, IOCL also decided to bring in a consultant, so then outside in view also comes in. So I'm sure the marriage of inside out view, outside in view, and the steps which you have taken, which is all the way from robotics to analytics, is truly benefiting Indian Oil Corporation, and we all can see that in the results also. So Nambiar sir, one more topic which I would want you to throw some light is that, we, as you were just mentioning, that the data center modernization will also be critical to this. So we will have to build a very modernized data center. We'll also have to think whether, generally, I think it's okay to have a conservative view towards a cloud journey, and whether it should be a hybrid cloud or what cloud it should be exactly, whether it should be private cloud, because organizations can have their own benefits of each type of cloud, and there's nothing which is the right answer for everyone. So it's what suits that organization. And the third thing, which is, sir, is whilst we will do all this, because IOCL is a big marketing company for the oil, which reaches to all of us. So applications will also play a big role. And what I'm reading is that microservices based applications, which are kind of combining virtualization and Kubernetes and containers together, and moving away from monolithic applications, is something which is helping a lot of organizations, and they're looking towards that. So yeah, I know I've combined a lot of things, but any thoughts around data center modernization, your views on whether a private cloud or a hybrid cloud makes sense, and the application modernization, Kubernetes, what's your thought around this, sir?
See, as you know, we have been right from the time of DBTL implementation in the LPG. So we had a huge database, and that database catered to the entire country of people who are actually engaged, the LPG consumers who are engaged. You also know that we won the Guinness Book of World Records for the DBTL direct benefit transfers. So there is also a CRM that has been implemented that is basically on a virtual private cloud. And all the other things like your chatbots and things are actually on the cloud, on the public cloud. So we have a combination. Like we are also experimenting on low code, no code based software development. We are also experimenting on CI and CD, that is continuous integration and continuous development technologies as well. So new age applications on the go, those being migrated from desktop to laptop and to tablets to mobile. So with an aim to technology driven business, we are constantly searching for new areas that will ultimately give value to customers. So we realize that the entire upstream and downstream actually is for the customer alone.
Sure.
Our endeavor is to identify customer needs and utility and facilitate them before anyone else could. Hence, our applications have to be robust and resilient to take any eventuality, be it in cybersecurity layer or in the data center management. The rapid pace of digitalization has huge implications on the data center. The DC has to be scalable, agile, and responsive. We have added sustainability to that matrix as well. Going ahead, we will be setting up extending our existing data center. We have a central data center at Gurgaon, backup at Bangalore. So that we will be extending and going ahead. to ensuring that they meet the latest business challenges. We are actively pursuing software-defined approaches at our data centers, setting up private clouds while ensuring that they plug into the public cloud. So maybe you could call that hybrid cloud. However, at the same time, ensuring visibility, security, and governance over conscious data applications. So at Indian Oil, to be precise, we have data center infrastructure, various virtualization setups, VMware, Nutanix, Oracle, Hyper-V, Microsoft Hyper-V. And of late, we have been deploying on hyper-converged infrastructure and containers and orchestration tools. So Dockers, Kubernetes are not very far away. Of course, we need to, and the CI/CD, of course, has to follow. At the same time, we have certain guidelines on critical information infrastructure to which most of our refineries and some of our pipelines are subscribed to. Hence, statutory restrictions on such data stored external to our data center necessitates applications consuming such data to be on-premise. As the hybrid or the cloud approach doesn't, or the cloud approach may not work, hybrid, we have to be very conceptual, look very conceptual. We have, however, with stakeholders' consent, hosted few applications, as I said, on the cloud. We have chatbots are there and few other applications in the marketing area that is also on cloud. Though it would be very, certainly very costly effective, but in the long run, I think in the case of management and otherwise ease of doing business, cloud definitely gives a lot of leverage. As I said earlier, customers look for robustness and resilience, and that is what we are looking for. They will accept, soon adopt applications that they trust, and that is what they expect. Therefore, whether it is to be handled by on-premise, hybrid, cloud infrastructure is not really what the customer wishes, but it is our headache definitely to reduce our own management pains that we need to adopt the suitable infrastructure.
Correct. Very rightly, sir, put across, and I like your vision of and clarity of thought that technologies will come and go, and different technologies will have their own roles, but IOCL will figure out what's right for them, which application is best suited for a native, which application is best suited for a private, and your ability to kind of produce a scalable, robust, agile data center and a private cloud. So absolutely right thoughts, sir, which at least whatever I've been reading in the industry, I think like with your leadership and driving all the strategic initiatives and information systems, IOCL is bound to grow further. And we will look forward to again hearing your experiences, I'm sure, about a year or next year, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Whilst we've discussed about the exploration, we've discussed about the oil marketing, but there is something which really touches all of us at our very home, and this is the IGL, the Indraprastha Gas Limited company. They are the gas distribution company of the India. In fact, the largest company which provides the natural gas for cooking as well as for vehicular fuel. They have also been growing their revenues consistently, and today they have crossed more than $500 million in their revenue. So I would like to welcome Mr. S.K. Behera, CIO and CGM of IGL, as our next panelist.
Yeah, thank you, Aman. Yeah.
Hello, sir. So,
Yeah.
Behera, sir, I mean, like you carry a vast experience of like 25 years plus in IT leadership roles, and you worked across 3 different organizations and made meaningful contributions to them. And I know that when you had joined IGL was completely at a different point from digital transformation and to where you have taken them on that. So would you like to, sir, share some of your learnings in this long journey which you had?
Sure. It's thank you very much, and it is pleasure to be here. Actually, I have worked in various driver seats in my journey, starting from as a developer, as a project delivery head, and finally organizing and managing IT landscape of an NCGD company. And currently, I'm serving more than 1.7 million PNG utility customers and 1.3 million CNG vehicles in Delhi NCR and various other geographical areas in different states. since 13 years I have been here, and basically instrumenting in building the foundation of SAP landscape at IGL. Now leading and driving the digital transformation of IGL to level the digital transformation of IGL, where all the CGD look up to and follow and achieve the sustainable IT landscape. IGL has always remained on form in the CGD industry when it comes to adopting latest technology. We believe that currently digitalization is considered as a strategic priority. In this era of rapidly changing technology, yeah, are you getting my?
Yes, absolutely, Vera sir.
We believe that currently digitization is to be considered as a strategic priority. And in this era, rapidly changing technology, it is critical to adopt and choose the technology which is the best for this service and product. Usually, basically, we are mainly concentrating on currently the customer experience and the smart operation for enhancing operational efficiency. Then how to enhance the digital employee engagement, and finally the digital foundation. To achieve all these things, you need a good digital strategy. So first we have prepared our digital strategy in line with our business strategy. And on basis of that, we have started our journey, and we have implemented everything. You mean to say from SAP perspective, we have done all the module along with our customer center also, customer center, you mean to say call center also we have done through SAP's system. Sure. And that call center, usually they keep on increasing every day by day, the calls are keep on increasing. That's why we are adopting latest technology for that purpose also. In fact, currently we are planning to implement voice bot. The testing is going on.
Okay.
Under this, just the call resolution can be achieved fastly. That's why we have done all these things, and the load will be also reduced accordingly. That's why that already been tested. Very soon that will be also live with that.
Got it.
Apart from this, we have also done lot many customer experience. You mean to say customers ask always how to do fast.
Yeah.
So fast may be done in various factors required. One is maybe a communication channel, maybe your applications, maybe your backend infrastructure. Lot many things are there. Basically, we have improving in all respects. You mean to sometimes data center perspective, some application level perspective, some communication perspective. We have keep on enhancing all these things. And other channel is payment. Payment is also is asking immediately. It should be it should realize all these things. That's why we are adopting all the payment channels, and so that payment can be realized fastly.
Very interesting, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, like certainly, like for a person like you at IGL, because it gets very difficult when you are touching millions of consumers. It is still easier to manage when you are doing kind of business to business. But when it is B2C, the expectation is very high and customer satisfaction is very high. And really like your thought on keeping customer first and then kind of moving around your solutions to achieve, whether it is the reaching of the gas or the bill payment activities or various things you have done. So, sir, I also want to hear from you on any of your thoughts around, as we are digitally transforming our infrastructure, we have seen that software is becoming more and more powerful, and with utilizing the software, we can reduce cost. Another aspect which has really come into play in last 2 years is internet. Yes. We can use internet in a lot of many ways to be more productive. So, sir, have you done anything, or you have any thoughts around the networking side, right? We did discuss about data centers. We discussed about Kubernetes and application. Nambiar sir covered about that. We heard about the SAP and the ERPs. So what has been your thought around using the power of software on the networking side and using the power of software to kind of reach to your employees at remote levels? Maybe if they are going to a house and they are going to check a bill on the gas machine, how can they safely communicate back to you? Are there any thoughts around virtual desktops or MDMs or SD-WANs that you have experienced, or any thoughts around this?
Sure. Basically, the technology foundation initiative that help us strengthening the core structure, core infrastructure needed to develop and implement new technology. That is basically a digital communication platform. Got my point? And that communication platform is various type. One is collaboration platform also we have implemented.
Okay.
That all the MS Team or something like that. And during that COVID period, we have provided all kind of things so that remote working can be done. And the other part is the SD-WAN technology. SD-WAN basically software defined WAN technology that we have implemented in IGL. Just recently we have implemented it. Prior to that, we were using that all communication through maybe RF or something like this. So many problems were there. Just now we have implemented it, and 200 locations we have already been implemented so far. And really we've seen the difference right now. And one is the reachability is very much. And best part is we can segregate our bandwidth or utilization accordingly. That is the main objective, what we have done so far. Maybe for a CCTV point of view, maybe for a software point of view, we are prioritizing all these things, and accordingly we are seeing the result. And this is the first in gas industry, oil and gas industry, we've implemented. This is a very happy to inform you all. Yeah. And soon we will implement it in other way also, maybe for our SCADA system or everything we will implement in that area also.
Sure, very interesting, sir. I mean, being at a PSU with you have to follow the government guidelines and yet be able to adopt new technologies and leveraging them. Sir, hats off to all of you, and each one of you has been first in his own way of bringing some technology and rolling out at scale. So absolutely great learning from all of you. I would like to touch upon one more point, sir, Behera sir. I mean, like, again, Amal sir also did mention about the IoT and OT space. So how have you been integrating your IoT and OT seamlessly, ensuring a customer experience which is elevated? Because IGL has been at the forefront of this and has already implemented a lot of projects. Even at our house, we see. So what's the power of technology, and how have you produced results in this space, sir?
Yeah, basically we are implemented a AMR solution for our that customers' point of view, and they are totally controlled by our internal system. We can change the communication channel, and prepaid meter also we have introduced so many places, and so that automatically. Suppose the advance payment is not there, that can be already tripped up, and remotely can be managed accordingly. So that part already been done, and right now just we are doing in the other part of the country, and very few places in Delhi NCR region we have done it, and soon it will be replaced in all Delhi NCR region also.
That's great, sir. That's great. So thank you, everyone. I mean, like this last 30 minutes has been very valuable to all of us, and I think the audience as well. There are people who have taken roads which nobody had taken, and they have shared their learnings with all of us. We've heard like how technology has been used in the robotics side, in the IoT space, on the network space, on the data center space. And all these organizations are profitable. All these organizations have been increasing their revenue. They are competing with the private players and still making a mark and remaining above all of them. So indeed, it's a great privilege, Nambiar sir, Amal sir, Behera sir, that you could spend time with us on this panel. I really appreciate your time here, and I'm sure all your learnings will be very valuable to this audience. Thank you, Governance Now, for organizing this session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Aman, and thank you so much, every panelist. It was really a wonderful session.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Aman.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, Amal, sir. Thank you, Vera, sir.
Thank you. So what a power-packed day of information right from the depth of India's best PSUs and their participating experts. There is not any doubt that the nation is riding a high tide of data and digitalization, which it will harness and cultivate further for coming decade with more and more innovations and emerging technologies to knit the ecosystem well, which certainly is to take our nation forward in the global market. The role of government in bringing up the economy is unavoidable and must be leveraged for more critical role. With that, we come to an end of the Governance Now 6th PSU IT Forum. We hope to have enabled robust knowledge-based information for all our participants and patrons and yielded a fruitful day. So once again, thank you all speakers, delegates, our partners for supporting us and Team Governance Now. We encourage you to please tweet about today's mega event by using hashtag PSUIT 2021. We look forward to connect with you all once again as we bring along to the 7th edition of PSU IT Forum on 2022. Thank you all.